reports from Fairfax papers that DCE tells Manly he's leaving at the end of the season. No word yet on plans for next season. May not seek contract with rival club in 2026. So this is big. Breaking news. DCE tells Manly he's leaving the club at season's end. Thoughts on this?
Well, it's a massive story, and it's why Manly have been trying to spin for some time that everything's sweet, Daly's happy. I've said all along it was an Adam Reynolds type situation where he wanted 2 years, they wanted 1 year. They wanted half the money he's on now. And I don't think DCE would come out and make that announcement now unless the Dolphins, St George Illawarra or whoever.
I read that the Roosters might have been thrown.
Well, I just
read
the story. It's saying he hasn't decided yet, by the sounds of it, whether he's going to play on yet. So he's going to decide later in the year. But this suggests there's obviously some. I mean, Daly said last night, I was in the press conference, he said there's no animosity with the Manly club. There's no issues with the Manly club. They know where he stands. But this would suggest there is animosity there.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he make this decision unless there was...
has to be.
Well, you think he's going to retire?
No, I think he'll play on, but like he's probably thinking, look, I've had my run here. I've given you 10 great years or whatever it is, 14, 16 great years, and I want to go home. Like the Cherries and
You think he's
Evans
going back to Queensland, Gordy? Dolphins?
Well, I think that's the romance of the game.
Gordy,
That's his family name.
I haven't spoken to DCE, so, but from what I'm told around the traps is he felt a little disrespected around only getting the 1 year deal.
Yeah, but surely that's not enough.
Hold on, mate. They gave him 10.
Well, it was enough for Adam Reynolds to pack up and go, mate.
They've got time. What I'm saying is even if it was 1 year now, Manly must have just... If you're saying that, that means Manly must have given him the ultimatum. It's only 1 year. That's it. Because we thought he may negotiate a 2 year.
I don't know if Manly gave him a time limit because whatever Cherry-Evans did,
it's a quick reaction. This is severe.
But Manly couldn't wait till the end of the year in October for him to make that decision.
Especially when someone like Gelvin's...
I spoke to someone at Manly today about this exact situation. They said the point that Scott Penn's in town at the moment, the owner and chairman, he's back for a week or so to go to the Parramatta game. And I think the plan was to sit down with Daly at some point this week and say, we need an answer out of you. Now, maybe it happened today, but it hadn't happened earlier today when I spoke to someone at Manly, but I suspect the club's asked for a decision out of Daly and Daly's told them...
That's sweet.
I'll tell you what's interesting, where he might head up. Joe Webby, is it? Webby, the manager. You know who else Joe Webby looks after? James Tedesco and Reece Robson.
Oh.
Could he provide a spine for the Sydney Roosters? Look, it's...
Well, let's dive into that. Let's dive into that.
Sam Walker would have to play for because they love Sam Walker.
That's okay. Sam Walker can still be there with DCE.
They love Mitch Pearce too. And
DCE, that's what they need right now.
DCE can play 6.
They need an experienced 7 right now to partner someone like Walker. Walker can play with the freedom. DCE controls the team. You've got Robson going there, which we didn't mention last week when Brendan Smith, they'd announced that he was moving on. They got Robson going to the club, and as you mentioned, same manager as Tedesco and Robson. This is big, and for him to make this swift call so quickly, without even going a few weeks or months into this season, it's a big possibility.
Brother, I've just got a text saying he's either going to the Dolphins or Roosters.
There you go.
And that's from someone who spoke to someone yesterday at the game about it. So
Dolphins or Roosters, there you have it.
Well, as I said on this show, I think it was last week, that Terry Reader, the Dolphins CEO, said, we'll wait, we'll see what Manly are doing, and if he becomes available, which he has, we'll be very, very interested. But as I said, that relationship with that agent, with those 2 big names,
Do we think that Manly have fought hard enough here?
I don't. Look, everyone keeps using his age, 36 years of age. He's as fit as a 30-year-old. He wins every time trial. He's missed 23 games in 15 years. And you know half of those games he missed, that was State of Origin.
Do they know more than we know? Do they think, listen, we just want to give him 1 more year. That's our salary cap, and we've got these young kids that we want.
Who's coming in next?
Well, they got a young rugby kid named Joey Walsh who played for the... But he's a couple of years away.
They've got another one too. They got from the West Tigers.
On a Tony Larch, but he's 17 or something. I mean, it's hard to say they didn't fight for him. They kept money aside for Daly, a significant amount of money aside for Daly for at least next season. And I've said it all along. I think if I was in their shoes, I would have only offered 1 year with the ability to extend that,
What do you reckon
extend
he's
that
worth,
next
really?
season. Well, you know, at this stage of your career, Gordy, you've got to take a little less. But now he's going to another club. He probably doesn't... Because he's at Manly, he's been there so long,
Yeah,
and
so
so
you
much
take a
money
little bit
there.
less at
You take a
Manly?
little bit less. But now he's going to another club. I'd say he's worth 800 minimum because he's going to another club.
Well, he's probably, rather than take... Sorry.
Breaking news, Mestroff and Penn have just contacted Fox League and said they're going to counter this with a 2-year offer, so they don't believe this is over. So Fairfax papers were reporting that he will move on at the end of this season, but now we've heard from the hierarchy at the Manly Sea Eagles live on air as
Jump
we
on the
speak
phone, you
right
two.
now,
Wow.
saying they're going to counter this with a 2-year offer to DCE. So this is far from over by the sounds of it.
What a massive story, and the fact that they've reacted differently to the South Sydney Rabbitohs did. It got so emotional with Adam Reynolds. The fans were filthy, but Blake Solly would not budge and would not give him that extra year.
You just got to
Manly
hope
have-
it's not too late though now, Buzz, that the damage hasn't... Where Daly's concerned, the damage hasn't been done.
But it
in
might
his
be,
mind,
mate, because
made
then
the
he's
decision
asked
to
for
move on.
2, and they went, oh, look, and then now they've changed.
Look, I think
Daly's a smart kid.
they owed him the respect of 2 years in that he is one of the greatest players to ever put that jersey on, ever. Captain Queensland, Captain Manly, won a title there. Started the, you know, I
this is all a bit-
so want him to stay.
It's a
really.
bit. I'm
So do
intrigued.
I.
I'm
We
intrigued
want him
by
to
this
stay.
though because they didn't originally offer the 2 years. He said, "See you later. I'm moving on." And then within 24 hours, they're saying, "No, you can have the 2 years now."
Well, you know what's probably happened? The punters are watching this show, and there's outrage.
People watch this show, don't they?
Well, there would be outrage. He's a favourite son.
Well, Scott
He-
Penn's in town too, I'd say, and Scott's able to, hit go on a deal pretty quickly. I mean, he runs the club, he owns the club, so it's his money. Well, it's effectively his money they're spending.
Because of the veteran player allowance, they can get him on the cap a lot cheaper. And this shouldn't have exploded into the story it has. I reckon they could have put this away some time ago.
You got to give credit to Penn and Mestrov. They've got straight on the phone here. They've rang up the boss, they've rang up the
absolutely,
boss
mate.
of Fox League, Fox Sports, and have said, no, this ain't happening. We're putting a 2-year deal to him. So they're on the ball here. you know.
Well, that's one thing I will say. They're a very, very well-managed club, and I'm surprised it's got this far, but there's any hope of staying, these two will pull it off.
All right. What's he worth, do you reckon, DCE?
Well, you're the... what do we rank him today?
What do we put him at? Yeah, what do we have him at?
Well, you know what? I think he's still $1 million halfback.
He's on. He's
in the
worth
top
what he's
4
on
in the
now.
comp.
He's a state of origin halfback, and let me tell you, at that level, I think he still cuts the mustard.
And Braith, I wrote on the weekend, if he does play for another 2 years, he becomes the oldest player in the history of the NRL. He goes past Paul Gallen. He breaks the 400 barrier.
News, Manly are locked in with a battle to retain star halfback Daly Cherry-Evans. Both of you guys were on the phones throughout that whole ad break to some hierarchy at the Manly Sea Eagles. It was. I felt so what's happened? What information have you received in the break?
Well, I just spoke to the chairman and owner, Scott Penn, who was surprised when he heard today that he was even... They have not been officially told. What's been reported elsewhere, that Cherry-Evans is leaving the club. They haven't been officially told. He said Manly were always under the impression, yes, it was a 1-year offer to him, but they were always under the impression there was no hurry. We'll chat when you're comfortable and do all this sort of business. But he confirmed that they will now offer him 2 years and they'll do everything possible to keep him on the Northern Peninsula where I believe he belongs.
It's all getting a little bit ugly, this. Reedy, what have you...
It is getting ugly, isn't it? I just spoke to Tony Mestrov and he relayed a similar message to Scott Penn. So, I think they've been caught a bit off guard by it. And I don't think they're convinced necessarily that Daly... Well, they don't have any indication, firm indication that Daly's going to go round again regardless. But,
So, is there a chance that they want Daly to get through the origin period and he goes, boys, I've had enough,
well,
or
they can't now,
I'm ready
Gordy,
to go?
because it sounds like obviously they're in a position now where they're going to put a 2-year offer on the table. So his future will be decided before Origin.
I just can't get my head around it. Very mixed messages. He's telling people or Fairfax that he's moving on at the season's end, but the club they're being told that he may retire at the end of the year or this is all over the place.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a circus, isn't it? It's
But even Daly last night, Buzz said he didn't know yet whether he wanted to go round again.
Yeah.
And now we're at a position today where he's talking about leaving the club.
This is the same, and I don't want to harp on, it gets so unsettling for footy clubs, it gets anxiety for fans, and it's happened before. And I know he's entitled to be talking to other places because he's off contract, and maybe Manly didn't go as hard as they should and show him the respect. I don't know, I haven't been in the negotiations. But it's got messy now, and it is unsettling. We saw how well they played yesterday, and they've got to move on. They've got to try and win this premiership without wondering where this club legend's going to be next year.
You would think, if I'm Manly, you go, hey, DCE, we really want you. If you do decide to play, do you want to play with us? And they go, yeah, well, there's 1 year, but there's 2. So you've got a rolling contract for 2 years, and if you want to play up to that, we're happy to have you.
This dramatic move by DCE suggests to me that he's definitely considering another club. Why would you do it? If you've been at this place for so long, your whole career, you're a legend of the club, they're offering you a 1 year, and you know what? Let's be honest, if he pushed it, he probably gets his 2. But he's gone, no, it's okay, I'm moving on. Like, that's the reports from Fairfax. That's a dramatic call to make for someone who doesn't want to play for a different club. Yeah. To me, it's not only just agitating.
It suggests there's something else going on. Right?
It suggests something else is going on here. That's what I take from this. I don't know. How do you guys see that?
Well, yeah, look, I've spoken to Nick Politis about this for some time. I'm sort of getting a straight bat fend off, you know. Yeah, it's a mind-blowing story to think he won't be on the Northern Beaches next year.
It suggests there's more going on behind the scenes of Manly, though, Buzz. I think that's sort of what you're implying, right, Braith? That to make this decision, when you've been at that club for, 15, 16 years, you live in the Northern Beaches, you've been paid a fair whack by them for a long time, to then get to a point where if you're potentially leaving to go and play at another club, when they're going to give you a 2-year deal, that suggests there's more to it than just contract
negotiations. Is he tied with the coach, Reedy?
Well, I don't know, but I mean,
I don't
you hear the same rumours I hear, Buzz.
Yeah, the DCE got married in the off-season. Anthony Seibold wasn't invited, which I found unusual.
Yeah.
Not saying there's a feud, I'm just wondering how close they are.
There's been some, and again, there's been some whispers around for a while that they're not super tight. I mean, they've got a relationship, obviously. He's the captain and Seibs is the coach of the footy club, but they're not necessarily tight.
Well, the mail from the hierarchy at Manly, they were trying to show him respect and go about this deal respectfully, and then it sounds like DCE jumped the gun with this one, either him or his management. Remember, there's a manager involved here too. And they've made this call, supposedly with Fairfax papers.
I spoke to his manager a week ago and he denied there was any drama, despite the fact that I heard that from a manager that Cherry-Evans was going
to... Well, Daly denied there was any drama last night. He said there's no animosity. That was his
Not surprised that the managers didn't take my call during the break. But, you know, all right, we're going to like a manager.
We're going to move on, but there'll be plenty more of this as the week goes on now. This is big news, big breaking news. DCE tells Fairfax media that he will not be with the Manly Sea Eagles next year, but we have conflicting reports from the hierarchy at Manly set to offer him a 2-year deal as we speak.